claws to their feet. Harassins have the unique
He was ready for that.
Baited.
He was ready for that. He was like, I dare you.
Baited him. Baited him. Oh my god. No one.
There you go. Are you happy now? We're recording.
I'm very
all right.
happy now.
We can't. Apparently, we can't just have a conversation off camera without you wanting
because
to
we're not
involve
friends.
them into
Why
everything.
we're not friends. Why would you want to talk to me off camera?
Oh, so our business partners don't talk?
No.
Okay, then. Why didn't you just tell me that earlier? What's wrong with you, man?
Email me if you want to
Freaking
speak
got me
to
here
me.
trying to have
if you
conversations and everything.
You email me if you want to speak to me.
You should have added that in the contract. I thought we just had to have conversation.
No.
In the contract, it
Right.
said conversations. Under conversations, it was like regular conversations at least once a day. I was just with the contract.
I don't want to talk to you that much.
You signed the contract, all right? I'm not the one that put it on there. I think it was with, look at him, it's smart. It was with Lead. He knew that we weren't gonna like this.
Let's just start the damn video, man.
Unorthodox reactions, unorthodox intros.
Welcome back. Lee's gonna edit that out. Is it Lamar's gonna edit? They're gonna edit it.
Someone's gonna edit that.
Anyways, guys, we are Unorthodox Reactions.
Of course.
We are back again with, you guessed it, a reaction. This time we will be reacting.
TierZoo, and it is our claws OP. I love his our OP videos because it kind of lets you see like the type of weapons animals are working with and just how outmatched we are as humans.
I'm not outmatched. I'm a beast, bro. Don't even.
We're not starting. We're not starting.
I'm a beast. Bro.
We are not starting
bro.
this.
I'm a beast.
We're not, without further ado, let's get right into it. We're not starting this. We're not starting this at all.
Dude, I'm a beast. Beast, bro.
Game over. To be continued.
When speccing your character, it's important to choose equipment that integrates well with your chosen build's combat style and minimizes its inherent vulnerabilities. Weapons like horns and fangs are capable of inflicting massive damage.
I think we've seen this video
in
before.
battle can leave the player vulnerable to counterattacks,
that clip, sorry,
and their value is mostly limited to 1v1 situations. Balancing the risk and damage potential of launching an attack is a key strategic consideration in equipping any type of weapon. So today we'll discuss one that comes as a standard feature on many of the most viable builds in the game: claws.
Ooh.
Claws are versatile, close-range weapons that can be used for offense or defense without sacrificing much in terms of mobility. They do require the user to get somewhat close to an enemy to launch an attack, but due to the low end lag on most standard slashing and swiping claw strikes, these tend to be one of the safest attack options a player has access to.
The eagle's like, what is
some
this?
other weapons, claws can usually be regenerated if damaged, allowing them to be used freely with minimal risk. Claws can be used against multiple enemies at once if the build has decent mobility, making them an excellent choice for generalists and tanks alike. They can also be specialized into a variety of secondary perks that allow the user to climb, dig, or run at extreme speeds without slipping. Claws can be optimized for piercing, slashing, or crushing damage depending on which basic type you spec into. While some members of the arthropod faction have tiny hooked claws that are used for the mobility perks alone, others equip pincher-type claws called Keelay that can inflict massive crushing damage. The size of Keelay relative to the user's body varies between build classes, but they can be used in combat even on the smaller end due to the additional perk of being able to immobilize opponents. Crustacean builds like crabs and lobsters can use claws to crush or dismember prey, a devastating attack if it connects, though it can be fairly easily dodged by more mobile players. Scorpions can use their claws to inflict knockback or as a physical barrier to keep an enemy away from their vitals, but they also enable them to use an extremely powerful grappling combination move. While an enemy is immobilized in their claws, scorpions use their flexible stingers to inflict massive piercing and venom damage. This attack is more effective in crushing alone, but the trade-off between physical power and venom potency means that some scorpions are still weak against builds that can deflect or withstand stings.
I think we covered this
Instead of modifying entire limbs into crushing pinchers, many tetrapod builds can equip individual claws to each digit and then use them to inflict piercing or slashing damage.
Oh.
Yeah, like, why can't our nails be like claws? Like, that would have been
Exactly.
so cool.
No, it's not cool.
It would have been cool.
No,
I mean, it
then
would have been a
there'll
bit
be way
annoying because then it's
more-
like you'd have to be like a bit
No,
more
but
careful with
there'll
your
be
hands.
way
and
more
stuff.
like just everyone's got scratches on their face because these chicks, yeah, girls when they slapping people, yeah, bro, they'll just be it literally, bro. What? There's no everyone's face will be done for.
Well, then,
You know when
yeah,
you were a kid and your
then
mum smacked
maybe
you?
then
You know when your mum smacks you
scars
across your
would be
face?
seen as battle scars instead of just
No, they
you know,
wouldn't.
just
Everyone would
damage
have
to
a
the
battle
body.
scar by the age of 7
Yeah,
because their mum smacks their hand,
claws.
bleeding.
Oh, where'd you get that? Oh, you know,
Yeah.
I knocked
Broke
over the
toy.
orange.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
Reptile and mammal builds that spec into claws usually equip them to all 4 limbs, using them for combat as well as their broad array of secondary functions. Tetrapod builds in earlier expansions experimented with a variety of claw
That's a
specializations,
knife, mate.
with Therizinosaurus dumping the most evolution points into the trait of any build in history.
Smack
These
the mess
giant
out of
curved
it.
claws were primarily used to hook and pull vegetation in order to access the best loot, but they served the secondary function of being used to attack or intimidate predators in a similar strategy to that of anteaters in the current meta. Megatherium is another example of a build that went all in on claws, but theirs were specialized to withstand the impacts of intense digging, and thus were much
Glad
more
they have
powerful in
level
combat
snowman.
as a result. Although Megatherium were large enough to repel most enemies using intimidation alone, succeeding in a meta where Smilodon were the apex predators meant that their claws needed to be ready for serious action when necessary. While Thenocerosaurus and Megatherium are no
Is that what
longer playable
Sabertooths are
builds,
called?
the basic tetrapod claw specializations that they
Might have
pioneered
done.
are still influential in today's meta. While some mammal variants spec into nails or hooves instead, claws are still an extremely common limb equipment choice and are used for everything from climbing and foraging to attacking enemies. Digging is a common specialization for mammal players, with builds like the armadillo and anteater leveraging their claws to access hard-to-reach resources. At the extreme end of this ability, moles use their long, thick claws and sensory modifications to complete their entire playthroughs in subterranean maps, where they can farm out invertebrate players for XP.
Oh, that's
Other
just...
mammal builds spec into lighter claws to preserve dexterity and use them more in a generalist fashion, but this means they can only inflict minor scratch damage in combat situations. The cloven hooves of even-toed ungulate builds like pigs and deer technically are claws as
I was
well,
gonna say,
which add cutting
I don't
edges to
know if I
already
consider
powerful
that
limbs
claws,
and
though.
increase the damage inflicted by kicks. Mammals in the Carnivora faction all have claws, but only some are fully dependent on them to take down enemies. Felids have extremely sharp claws that retract when not in use, conserving
okay.
their durability and allowing them to move silently when preparing to ambush an
Oh,
opponent.
I think cats
These
can do
claws
that too,
provide
can't they?
additional traction and therefore movement speed when extended, but more importantly, they greatly increase both the damage and grappling capability of these felids. This grappling
Isn't that what I like? I think you mentioned in one of the other videos as well that that's why like cheetah claws aren't that sharp because they don't have the ability to retract it, so
They
they
don't.
just use
I
it
thought
all
he
the
was saying
time.
they do.
No, he said felids do, but
Yeah,
I
and he's
think
showing
I
a
think
cheetah.
they're the exception.
Oh, okay.
I think I might be wrong, but I think they're the exception because I think that's why their claws aren't that sharp because they run on their claws all the time, or like they need to be ready to run on their claws all the time or something.
can be used in a deadly combination, where claws immobilize an opponent so the user can safely inflict lethal bite damage.
Oh.
They're also remarkably effective for climbing, which opens up access to areas of the map that other
That
carnivore
jaguar.
builds can't reach. With
Freaking
some
hell.
of the best speed and power stats in the game, felids are absolute killing machines that use claws to decimate bird and mammal player bases. For builds which lack the ability to retract their claws, the repeated contact with the ground
Ouch.
causes them to become dull and less useful for climbing or combat, but they do still provide solid mobility bonuses. Since bird forelimbs are modified into wings, most avian builds can only equip functional claws to their feet. Hoatzins have the unique
He
a
was
bait.
ready for that.
Baited.
He was ready for that.
Baited.
He was like, I dare you.
Baited him. Baited him. Oh my god.
He was
most
ready.
avian builds can
Nah,
only
take it,
equip
take it.
functional claws to their feet.
Dumbass.
Hoatzins have the unique ability
That's
to
his
equip
eyes
claws
and
to their
everything.
legs that are used for climbing, but this ability is shed at higher levels in favor of flight, and all other birds are restricted to hind limb claws only. While this may seem like a limitation, members of the raptor faction use their claws and wings in conjunction to carry out some of the deadliest ambush attacks in the game. Their absolutely busted sensory abilities and mobility stats allow them to attack before an opponent can even detect their presence, impaling them with sharp talons before they have time to react and counterattack. However, raptor legs are relatively short and their wings can't deal much damage in their own right, which limits their ability to counterattack when an enemy launches an attack on the ground or
Yeah, why would you be in that enclosed
in the typical
space?
avian playstyle, some birds dump evolution points into their legs and feet
Ostrich?
at the expense of their flight ability. This strategy hinges on having a high enough run speed to evade most enemies,
funny.
and enough power in their legs to disembowel enemies with dagger-like claws when challenged. Both types
Why are
of
you
avian
doing this to
builds can be
yourself, sir?
viable against certain
Actually.
opponents, but their inability to inflict much damage with their wings leaves them vulnerable to rushdown and more powerful builds, and underscores the benefits of having claws equipped to
But
all
Mira
four
can't
limbs.
subscribe against anyone
Claws are an
freaking out.
excellent weapon choice for players with the flexibility and limb lengths needed to
Ah,
maximize
too
their threat
bad.
range. But even on less mobile builds, they're still well worth the investment. These versatile weapons are at their best when they're used either as a safe, non-committal attack to chip away at an opponent, or as part of a grappling combination move
So
that
basically a
anchors
hit
an
and run
opponent in
tactic.
place,
Oh.
while additional damage is
Wow.
inflicted by either teeth or
What
stingers.
kind of animation is
As
this?
the top tier
No
claw
idea.
users, Belids are definitely OP,
And
as they have pretty
animation
much
that
the
never
perfect setup to
happened.
maximize the utility of their highly specialized claws.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you think claws, you do think like feelers, like, you know, lions and, well, maybe not feel, just more, yeah, feelers more.
do, you do.
Cause I was gonna say, like, you kind of think wolves and stuff as well, but I think you definitely think more like lions and tigers and stuff first.
Big cats.
So don't expect to
Yeah.
immediately skyrocket up the tier
Oh.
list the moment you spec into the claws trait.
The
As the
oh.
feeling class may be a bit of an outlier.
And he's gonna land on
However,
his feet.
claws are still
Ah,
a
you
valuable
never
addition to
know.
almost any build that can equip them, and cost
Okay,
very little
what
in
happens
terms of
now
evolution
then?
points, considering how many new
You've
options
gotten
and
yourself
strategies
into
they can
this.
add to a character.
Gonna fall down with
On
it.
the subject of claws, you may have noticed that I didn't discuss one of the game's most famous claws in this video. On that note,
What,
I have a
the
bit of an announcement.
Raptor.
I've been secretly working on something big. My own 3D animation studio.
Oh.
I want to make one of the best educational wildlife shows ever, and finally
Oh.
answer the types of questions that I constantly get asked. Who would win in a fight between... Well, I mean, take your pick. So far, I've been limited in what I've been able to show on this channel, since many animals
you
never meet,
don't
and are
draw.
separated by either distance or time. Through the magic of 3D animation, I want to bring these confrontations
They're basically doing a death battle for animals. That's
Yeah,
actually
tough.
really cool.
to
That's
life for all of you to witness. The first episode will pit one of history's most lethal
Wait, is he gonna
claws
do it on this
against
channel?
one of prehistory's most deadly fangs.
Maybe.
I've been
Saber-tooth versus
working super
raptors.
hard, and although the first episode isn't quite ready, it'll
Ah,
be
that's
premiering
fire.
on Nebula soon.
Ah,
and I don't
Nebula.
want you to miss it. Many
We
of
might
you
actually
know by
start
now
reacting
that
to
TierZoo
stuff
is a
on there,
longtime
you know,
partner
at this
of
point.
Nebula, a creator-owned streaming service whose mission is to empower creators to make high-budget content that they couldn't otherwise. Well, I'm no exception, and I'm really shooting for the moon here. So please, check out the sponsor of today's video, the Nebula
Alright,
Curiosity
we
Stream
got
Bundle.
you.
How much
Check
is
it out.
Nebula?
Curiosity Stream has thousands of amazing non-fiction
I think, isn't it like if you have Curiosity Stream, you get Nebula for free? I think Curiosity Stream's like 20 or 30 pounds a year.
titles on
Hey,
there already
that's
for
way
you to
out of
check
my
while
price
for the final
range.
touches on this show,
Sorry, guys.
including personal favorites of mine like Out of the Cradle and Amazing Dino World. And on the Nebula side of things, Real Life Lore's
Gravity
Modern Conflict
Falls.
series and Real Engineering's Battle of Britain series are must-watches. The bundle is only $14.79 a year, already one of the best
There you
deals in
go.
streaming, and that's before you add on the high
Not even 20 pounds, like I said.
Way
budget
too
3D
much,
show that I'm
mate.
launching.
This guy is
So I hope you like it,
broke.
and thanks for watching.
Wow. Why are we
Poor
judging
guy.
people? I have to feed all of these people. Feed their family.
They've got their own problems, bro.
Exactly.
Let them handle their own problems. Why are you
Come
trying to
on.
handle their problems for them?
Because that's who I am.
This is why they haven't grown, or this is why they're childish all the time, because you always just look after their problems for
I'm
them.
a carer. What can I say? It's my job.
Anyway, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment,
Some
subscribe,
people, man.
notification
No
bell, all
manners.
the good stuff. Comment, reaction, suggestions below,
Thank you guys for the lovely comments.
and we
lately.
shall see you
in the next
in
one.
the next one.
No, stay blessed. Look after your loved
No,
one. If
it's
you're still
too late for
watching,
that
we
now.
appreciate
So
you.
if
you're
you're
no longer
hearing
watching, we
this,
appreciate
don't
you.
listen to him
Thank you for
because
checking
you
in.
already missed this
Thanks for
chance.
the lovely
And
comments.
obviously, we don't want him to
Namaste.
just keep. I actually have no idea what I'm saying anymore at this point, so
Namaste.
we shall see you in the next one in a bit.